Oh, we're live. It's Monday. It's Monday Munch time.
Happy Monday Munch.
We're late, like an hour, but that was to accommodate for others that needed us to accommodate. We don't ever mind.
I totally took a nap. It was nice.
Yeah, see, it's a good time. But yeah, this Monday Munch is all about the gender spectrum.
Okay, not all about the gender spectrum because we tend to get off topic, but
well, it's mostly about it. But I started a new thing that nobody else wants to do, and that's why I started it. Well, not many of us wanted to do. I'm going to go ahead and unmute anybody or everybody. All right, so we're going to start playing Controversy Corner. I'm going to introduce a topic. I'm going to give...
Can we get my grandma off the screen, please?
Cool.
Oh, yeah, I got you. You got those privileges?
I can't do it. I don't know how.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Grandma. Nothing personal. I was told to. So we'll start with Dream. And this topic is for everybody. We're going to start with Dream. I'm going to give you 1 minute to agree or disagree and tell me why. Are you ready?
I guess. Take the whatever out of your mouth first.
Don't you tell me what you're putting on now.
I tried to. No.
You got hurt over that. All right. So, starting with Dream. There we go. Controversy Corner, the first one.
Oh, good God.
Deep dish pizza is actually a casserole.
No.
Why? Or why not?
Just because something has sides does not make it a casserole.
What makes something a casserole then?
Several layers of dumb shit. Where's Grandma when I need her? God damn it.
So like dough, and then like some sauce, and then maybe a couple toppings or meats, and then maybe another layer of cheese. Would that make a good casserole? I think Dream is ready to fight me with casserole.
Okay, well, you have fun calling a pizza a casserole. I don't really give a shit. Actually, I do. Fuck you.
All right, time's up. Alice, let's hear your hot take on it. Deep dish pizza is actually a casserole.
It's not a casserole. It's just a more complicated pie.
But why is it not a casserole?
Define casserole.
Well, I don't fucking know. It's got cream of something shit in it. It's gross.
What cream of anything are you putting into your pizza?
You're not. I mean, I'm on the... I don't think
exactly.
It's casserole. It's pizza.
That might be good.
But at the same time, sweet potato casserole doesn't have cream of anything in it.
Cream of chicken soup on a... Not my turn to talk yet.
I have never in my life made casserole. I have made deep dish pizza.
So you've made a casserole?
I have not. It is not. It is a pie.
But it doesn't have any covering besides the cheese. There's no crusty top.
Pizza doesn't have to have a crusty top.
No, but a casserole does.
So you're kind of reinforcing my point. It's not a casserole.
I'm just playing both sides here. All right, time's up. On to Ray. Go ahead.
Ray needs a second.
Oh, you need a second? Okay.
We're good. I would say that no, it is not a casserole because most casseroles, if there is any form of crust, it is the top layer because that is how it bakes properly. And in a deep dish pie, in a deep dish pizza, it is a more complicated pie because the crust is on the bottom.
But, I mean, cheese can get a little crusty and toasty on top depending on how long you bake it.
It can, but it is still not of the thickness as a deep dish pizza. And it is still not dough.
So if I put dough on top, it would make it a casserole.
No, then you'll make it. Then you'll make an entirely different thing because it'll have dough on bottom and top, and that's different.
Okay, I'm digging this now. I'm digging this. Okay, you guys are swaying my opinion.
Is it my turn now?
Are you good, Ray? Your timer's about up anyway.
So I Googled what a casserole is, you guys. And a casserole is a kind of large, deep pan or bowl used for cooking a variety of dishes in the oven. It is also a category of foods cooked in such a vessel. To distinguish the two uses, the pan can be called a casserole dish or a casserole pan.
So, is it a casserole or not?
A pizza is not a casserole because you cook it on a pizza sheet. You don't put it in a casserole dish or a casserole pan.
Do you know?
I mean, if you want to cook it like that,
It's a deep dish.
you can call it a casserole.
It's a deep dish.
All of this because we're cooking bread on the show. God damn it.
No. It's because of the pan that it's cooked in.
Yeah,
So no,
deeper
pizza-
dish pan.
if Domino's or Pizza Hut or Papa's poop, if they want to get a new pan, they can call their pizza their deep dish. Their deep dish pizzas can be
All right.
called.
Let me give my final rebuttal to this. It is a casserole because of that definition right there. You know how my aunt used to make me pizzas when I was a kid? In a casserole pan.
Well,
We would
those-
make deep dish pizzas with several layers, be like a pizza lasagna almost, in a casserole pan. And that right there tells me the definition of a casserole is that it uses a pan like that.
But
Therefore, pizzas can be a casserole.
They can be.
So they are.
If you're
I'm gonna
cooking
ruin
with-
something for you.
I knew we were
Okay.
pouring in that pizza pan.
So if pizza is a casserole, then does that make people a soup?
yes.
Fucking
Yes.
absolutely.
Also, the ocean is soup.
But soup is a people.
Both.
That too.
I would say probably more a stew than a soup, but yes.
But
You
the
guys
ocean
realize-
is soup too. The ocean is soup too.
Okay, so we have some people
Very
here.
aggressive, but yes.
That one will be fun. We have some people here that said hi. Got Chamberlain.
Hey, Chamberlain.
Slava? Is that how you say it? I
Yeah,
know who
that's-
it is, but that's
I don't know
not the
how to
name
say
that's
it.
presented.
I don't know.
But, and I don't want to cross any boundaries on that one. Like, the misnaming or naming someone that's not, no. Whatever. Yeah, so, pizza is a casserole. Good decision, guys.
Only if you make it with your aunt in a
And
fucking
actually-
casserole dish.
Okay, just that. So, actually, Luna, if we can all have fun and behave, I would love to have you on this topic.
Absolutely.
Really. Tonight's topic is everybody is leaving. All right. My favorite topic. So, no, tonight's topic has absolutely fuck all to do with casseroles or pizza. Tonight's all about the gender spectrum. And we're covering everything from, let me get this, don't you touch my snacks. Let me get this right. Alice, I'm getting it right when I say it goes from woman to man, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I did it the other day. I don't know why I did it the wrong way the other day, because I know better. Because I was like, no, Alice is, I was there, I was like, Alice is wrong. Corrected me, and it's not even right. And then I reread what I sent, and I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have moments like that. You guys know and love. Oh, okay. I mean, that's a good way to live life there. And Chamberlain says it's in the name pizza. Pizza's a pizza.
Thank you. That's pizza. Because it's made on a pizza pan.
So,
Pizza is a pie.
but a pie has to have a top.
No.
A pie
No,
Not in
it
America.
doesn't. No, it doesn't. You're right.
does
No.
not have to have top. Most blueberry pies are made either with no top or with a lattice top.
I always prefer it topless. But yeah.
The only kind of pie I prefer topless is cherry.
Exactly. A topless cherry pie. Delicious. So the basis of the kind of the new layout, or kind of the old layout, but a little more guided into the conversation, instead of us all having our own individual topics and breakdowns of what this is and what that is, it's going to be more of a panel style. I always call you guys the panel, so I might as well make it panel style, where I kind of ask a question under a certain topic to certain people, and then we go from there. Oh, and Luna, like, there's tons of questions. Hi, Mira. Hope you're doing well. You're always welcome to join too. Everybody's always welcome. What am I doing? I'm the most prepared moderator ever.
Oh, absolutely. So prepared.
I was a Boy Scout. I was always prepared. All right. So, who would like to go first?
Just ask your
you can
question.
volunteer or be voluntold. Which one's it going to be?
Just ask your question. See who lights up the brightest.
So I was just trying to figure that out before we get to that part of it. But so from my understanding, and I am very much an outsider looking in on the spectrum thing, the whole discussion from the multiple genders, the actual spectrum, all that stuff. So that's why I'm happy to have the panel that I have, because it's a very inclusive panel. I have somebody that's trans, I have somebody that's gender fluid, I have somebody that's non-binary or has non-binary people in their life. And I've got cis women, I've got a cis man, I've got all the fun things.
That's what I was about to say. That makes you a part of it too. So
right, but I'm saying, like, as far as understanding the rest of the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
I know the cis men, I know cis women. I know enough to not be a douchebag to the rest. For the most part, sometimes I suck and I say things correctly. But I work on that every day. So, does anybody know exactly like how long I know it's more popular now, but how long the term like cisgender's been around?
Probably for as long as the term transgender has been around.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's been around for a long time too. But I did do my research there, and cis is Latin, and it means on this side or something like that.
On the same side.
On the same side. So basically that means if you're a cis man or cis woman, you identify as what you were born as. Correct?
Yes. Also, to answer the question, is 1994 is when cisgender was coined.
That's interesting. It's that new.
Wow.
At the time that it was coined, it was still illegal to be transgender, so.
Interesting. But I want to give a quick rundown of that and what that means exactly. But yeah, volunteer or voluntold, which one are we doing?
If no one else is going to, I'll volunteer.
All right. Alice, so tell us a little bit about yourself and if you're comfortable, like your whole journey and stuff like that.
Well, if I talk about the whole journey, no one else is going to have time to talk.
Well,
but I'm agender. It means there isn't a point on the spectrum that I identify with, so I just kind of don't exist on it. Was born assigned male at birth and have been on feminizing hormones for 16 months later this month. I'm kind of the trans person here, since I'm the one undergoing medical treatment for it. Not that medical treatment is necessary to be trans, to be clear.
Very nice. Thank you for clearing that part up.
The being trans is kind of a thing that I always knew. Like when I was a kid, there was like, man, I really don't want to be a boy. And I didn't really know there was another option, because most of the culture that I grew up around with was full of transphobia left and right, and like it was you were a man or a woman, and anything else was mocked and or beaten up. So like I've been working to unlearn that a lot, and I am a lot happier for having come to like starting transition.
Very nice. Yeah. So I'm personally happy that you're a part of this now. You give me a run for my money sometimes, and correct me sometimes. So you got to have that every now and then.
Sometimes both at the same time.
Exactly. And Luna, if I don't know if somebody has the link they want to send, if you'd like to join, you're more than welcome. I'm down for that. So the questions here, like I said, I kind of want to keep it panel style so we can educate a little bit more on these specific topics, at least. My gracefulness over here. There we go. So our first topic of the night is on the gender spectrum. It's going to be transgender. You mentioned agender, so I mean, I think that was nice of you to really give a brief rundown of that. So appreciate that.
Agender kind of falls under non-binary, but I think Ray's talking about that one.
So I've also heard the term gray gender.
Gray gender is something else. I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with that term because I don't use it, and I don't know that I have the space to speak on it. But someone else here might be more familiar with it.
Does anybody else have any idea?
Just a minute.
Okay. When in doubt, we can Google this shit. Love technology.
Yeah. According to the non-binary wiki, which that's a thing, it's defined as a person who identifies as at least partially outside the gender binary and has a strong natural ambivalence about their gender identity or gender expression. They feel they have a gender as well as a natural inclination or desire to express it. But now let's go to the actual link. Work faster. It's weak and or somewhat indeterminate / indefinable. Or they just don't feel it most of the time. Or they're just not that invested. They're not entirely without gender or gender expression, but they're not entirely with it either. So it sounds kind of similar to agender, actually.
It does.
But agender is specifically entirely without.
Yeah.
I would say it sounds more similar to genderqueer.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, I've lost my fucking words for a second. There was something that I wanted to ask and I couldn't remember. It was something that Soup said, a certain term, and I can't remember what it is now.
The Z?
No. It was like, anyway, we'll bounce back to it, I'm sure, because like it'll come up, and I want like an explanation for binary, non-binary. Can somebody give me like a quick explanation of that for anybody watching?
I would say from the experience of my child, binary is more like of the fitting spectrum. Like the predefined terms fit you. Non-binary, you don't really fit with any one specific term, but you're still part of, like, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if I worded that correctly.
So if we're looking at spectrum as like a range, binary would be existing at either end of the spectrum.
Thank you.
So man or masculine, and feminine or feminine, or woman or feminine. And like you would have those at the very ends, and then non-binary would be anything outside of those spaces. Okay. So like agender, where you're not at all on the spectrum, would also be non-binary.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Really quick, with your permission, my child would like to off camera weigh in on what non-binary means to them.
Absolutely. That's an important opinion to have as well.
So,
speak up.
I know. To me, what it means is the person doesn't identify as neither male nor female, but they still are on the gender spectrum.
Gotcha. Awesome. See, and like, sometimes like I wish this show was like way more age appropriate. That was a killer answer. Thank you for answering that. Because those are the opinions that matter too. It's not just 5 people sitting up here having a conversation. There are people that are beyond us that are living a whole different experience in a whole different generation. So I think it would be fun to have that conversation with some folks at some point. Remember to keep it kind of PG there, Lulu. You said you had boobs out and such, so camera off unless you cover them up.
It's streamed on YouTube.
Yeah, streamed on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, but no one else can see like who you are specifically. So back to it. I'm gonna scoot you over here. There you go. Scoot you next to me, so it feels like we're sitting next to each other talking. So Alice, how do transgender individuals' experience of gender differ from those of cisgender?
I think the best way I could answer that is by saying they experience it on purpose. Like, you don't accidentally be born transgender and then just roll with it from day one, right? You've got, if you're assigned male or assigned female at birth, then you have like the expectations and the culture around either of those that you have to work through. And then you have to figure out what your answer is and how you present and what's the most comfortable for you as a person and what's true for you as a person. I haven't encountered many cisgender people who have gone through doing all of that work and went, you know what? I think the doc when I was born was right, and then gone back to being cisgender.
Huh. Like that answer though, like the first answer you gave, like it hit me like completely in the face and made me understand it completely.
Mm-hmm.
Your gender is found on purpose. I've always just been a man. I mean, I've never felt like anything else, but I've always just been a man. I've never had to really work through that. I just did the things that men are doing.
Fair.
So real quick to address something that's very important with this conversation, Chamberlain will pull that comment up. It says one definition we gave about non-binary was so the definition confuses me because doesn't everyone question their sexuality at some point in their life?
We are not talking about sexuality at the moment. We're talking about gender identity. Ray, go ahead.
I would like to say the difference between that because I actually just said that to my other child that was trying to chime in. Mm-hmm. Gender is about who you identify as a person, who you are. Sexuality is about who you are attracted to or not.
Great answer. That's a very clear-cut answer too, and then that also saves us from we'll probably touch on that later, but the sex versus gender thing if we have time for it, because that's a super important conversation too. But yeah, phenomenal answer. Holy shit, like that's gonna be a clip right there. I need to remember that. Like 20 minutes in, awesome.
Always miss the good stuff.
No, you were here, I think.
Oh, the difference. Oh yeah.
That transgender is finding your gender on purpose.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, so this one may be a long-winded kind of answer, but take as much time and as much detail as you need. In what ways do transgender individuals face gender discrimination and oppression, and how do they resist it?
So there are a couple of big ways where that discrimination comes from. First, you have just the run-of-the-mill, like if you're a trans woman, you're going to deal with misogyny from people who treat women poorly, or if you're a trans man, you're going to deal with misandry from people who treat men poorly. You have an extra layer on top of that because there is an unfortunately large chunk of the population that thinks that being transgender is morally wrong or immediately makes you a predator. And you end up dealing with like these really fundamentalist people. I don't want to say fundamentalist Christians because some of them aren't even Christian, but like these really fundamentalists who go, you were born a man and you're trying to change that. And this is a crime against insert whatever authority they feel like matters. You end up having kind of this prolonged battle against like every system that you're in. And an example of that from today for me is I'm trying to work toward getting bottom surgery, which I mentioned last week. I was looking at phallus preserving vaginoplasty. I have to jump through several hoops, go to several different doctors, and pay over $1,000 out of pocket just to be evaluated to possibly get a referral for a consultation for the surgery. And I have to get 3 of those referrals before I can go talk to the doctor and be like, hey, this is what I'd like to do. Where can I get it done? So like everything's built to resist trans people being themselves. And like if I go
whole lot of proving who you are
every step of the way.
That's not fair. Not everybody has to do that.
If I might add in real quick, Alice, on the way home, we were listening to a podcast. I was just kind of trying to see more about the spectrum, kind of learn a couple of tips and tricks and stuff like that. And there was a trans person on there. They didn't mention if they were, man or woman, but they said they were trying to do these surgeries and their insurance would say they would cover it. And then the doctor would send the paperwork and stuff like that. And then the insurance company would change the code of what they're performing to be something different that wasn't covered. Mm-hmm. And they have to fight that loop and that constant battle. And they're like, it can be done. It's not going to be easy. And it's going to be, fought every step of the way, like you said. And but there's a certain method to it. I mean, not to dumb it down too much, but it's almost like a cheat code. There's exact buttons you have to push in an exact order to make that work.
And that's where I'm at now, is pushing those buttons, getting the referrals in place before I go get a consultation for the surgery. My insurance is through Cigna specifically, and I'm really fortunate that they actually have a transgender healthcare team. So when I file, I get those referrals, I go to the consultation, I say, this is the surgery we're doing. I know and am on a first name basis with the person who's going to process that claim. I know that because that's something that Cigna does. I don't know if other healthcare providers do.
That's really nice then. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, it says a lot that you have to be familiar with somebody that much, because most people file their claim and they just let it go, and it's taken care of, and that's all they have to do, and they never have to speak to a single person.
But it's just another example of things being stacked against trans people being authentically themselves.
Very nice. Anything else that can come off the top of the brain there?
How do they resist it? By working with other trans people. The transgender healthcare group was an initiative started in Cigna by trans employees of Cigna who went, hey, our coverage is kind of problematic. Let's figure out how we can make this better.
That's very interesting.
In a lot of ways where you're talking about oppression and discrimination, a lot of the initial progress comes from the oppressed group working together to make things better for each other.
Very nice. Oh, how do transgender individuals' experiences with their own gender, and determine that question however you'd like. How does it intersect with other identities such as race, class, and sexuality?
So the first 2 groups there that it's intersecting with have the largest systemic impact. I am fortunate that when I need to, I can pass as a white man, and I can get white man privilege when I'm working on things. When it comes to class, I work tech. I'm not some Silicon Valley bro, but I work tech. I have enough income that if I have to pay for these surgeries out of pocket, I can. Mm-hmm. And most trans people don't have that.
Mm-hmm. You have a stellar insurance company too? Yeah. That's so cool. Thank you for educating us about them.
Yeah, it's Cigna. Both of their broad categories of plans have access to the transgender healthcare group. It's My Champion, I think, is the name, or My Personal Champion is the name of the program. And sexuality, things get real wibbly wobbly a little bit when it comes to transgender people and sexuality. Specifically, if you're not transing to the other side of the binary. If you're somewhere in the middle, or like me, or agender, I don't know what heterosexual would look like from agender, or because everyone else is a separate gender, so there's not that clear definition of what a dynamic is in terms of gender between partners when you're not clearly one side or the other of the spectrum.
So now, question in that regard, technically speaking, I guess in like a very technical definitional way, two agendered people together would be a heterosexual relationship, correct?
Homosexual, because same gender.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. That was
Technically,
sorry about that.
Technically, but anytime you put multiple non-binary or agender or gender fluid people in the same space, everything gets complicated real fast.
I can imagine. And probably the most important question that I'll probably ask everybody here: how can we, as a society, become more accepting and supportive of the diversity of transgender experiences and identities?
In the same way that you can be a better ally to any other minority, like listen to the people who deal with the actual problems. When they say this is what needs to change, work to be a voice that lifts up that solution instead of being like, oh, I'm not oppressed. Let me tell you how to not be oppressed. Really just let trans people be trans people. Like the current world standard of care for the World Professional Association of Transgender Healthcare is like 6 months hormone therapy, a single referral for like body altering surgeries. And there isn't a single healthcare provider in the United States who abides by those standards of care. And all of them abide by the standards of care that were published 15 years ago.
And that's like all the loops is crazy. I mean, like in a spiritual way, it's very different, but people can get nose jobs, people can get boob jobs, people can get their asses lifted, with no problem.
Specifically, I have talked about in trans spaces that would be called top surgery, getting a boob job. I have talked about that. If I were a cis woman, I would need nothing. No mental health referrals, no approvals from a physician. I could just go, hey, I want to get this surgery. And like, there wouldn't be any steps between it. But because I'm trans, if I wanted to augment my chest, I would have to get those same, one from a physician, two from mental health care providers.
That's wild. The hypocrisy seems to be the biggest problem.
Yeah.
The non-accepting, the non-understanding, but the hypocrisy of, okay, well, this is the thing, and this is how this needs to happen, and then it's like, well, yeah, we're going to do it differently for these specific types of people. I mean, we went through that in
there's in a little over half of the United States, the concept of like trans panic, or like going on a date or like buying someone drinks and realizing that they're transgender because they didn't disclose that immediately, is a legally justified defense for murder.
What?
Yeah. And like, if I could point at any one specific problem that should be addressed first and foremost, it would be that people can get away with killing trans people.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not shocked by very many things, but that right there genuinely puts a big surprise in my head there. That doesn't justify because you got drunk with somebody and found out that they are, pre-op trans or whatever way they may be. That doesn't justify anything. That justifies you to say, okay, miscommunication, I've got to go. That's about all it justifies.
I can absolutely verify that is a thing.
Yeah.
And that's such a shame.
That's disgusting.
I have friends specifically in Texas that are fighting to get their friend that was murdered charged as a murder because the defense trans panic was used.
And it's going to take a long time. Those changes will take very, very, unfortunately, a very long time. It's there's no pun intended here, but it's not so black and white as the civil rights movement. But it's still the same struggle of people being discriminated against for who they are. It's just
for
not
something that they can't change specifically.
Right. It's not. It's It's not your skin color. It's who you are as a person on the inside.
Mm.
And
It's all the stuff that doesn't really fucking matter to an outsider, you know?
right.
That's the stuff about you doesn't matter to make a fucking law like that. I'm sorry, I made up about it now. You taught me a new word to be frustrated about.
So expect a nice rant from me on social media in the next few days. I'll probably go ahead and get banned for it, but whatever. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
I only get banned for things I believe in. So, yeah. So to shuffle through some of the questions there. Now we do have somebody new on the panel tonight. Has been in a few munches there. If they would like to introduce themselves, Lulu, would you like to introduce yourself at all? And you don't have to. It's fine. All right. So through the shuffle here of the questions are going to be almost exactly the same, just the substitution of the word. That way we can educate more about what's going on here. And I see you're looking down, but I hope you're ready.
Luna, get your ass in here and do your introduction.
Boss has spoken. Well, while we're waiting on Luna to drop that intro, the next category. Oh, wait.
Intro of yourself.
Who you are, pronouns, etc.
And we apparently already have a void. I'm sure we could have another.
There can only be one.
So out in space, when two voids collide, they combine and become one larger void.
But and it's once again, it's one of those things that whenever you're comfortable, whenever you want to, or
Luna goes by she.
Okay, Luna goes by she. All right. So as far as your gender identity,
yeah, what about it?
are we male, female, cis, trans, fluid, non-binary?
Sorry, fumbling over here, y'all. Bing.
God damn it! Get your.
And if you're not comfortable sharing, that's perfectly acceptable
If
too.
you don't want to answer, that's fine.
And
no, I just had a cat dig their claws into my thigh.
That's fine.
Yeah. A perks of being naked.
And if you don't feel like you're on that spectrum at all, there's agender.
I don't know if I have an exact answer for that at the minute.
And that's perfectly fine too. Very nice. So, we'll thank you for joining us. Always happy to have more people. Especially happy to see you again.
You said you're not married, like I'm not married, or like never been married, like you're not really married.
Huh?
are we all confused right now? We're all giving the confused
look. So I went ahead. I think Luna has some company, and I want to give them that privacy and let them mute. They can. There we go. All right. So
that's it. TV banter, but
okay.
All right. So non-binary. We're gonna go with Ray.
Oh shit, Ray's on top now.
It's okay. Your camera's small enough. Nobody can see you blushing.
Bullshit. Ask your questions.
One place I've never seen Ray before is on top.
It's quite a view.
I like it.
Ask your questions.
So now you don't. Do you identify as non-binary?
No, I am cis woman.
Okay, but I know you have people in your life that are very important to you that are non-binary.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
so that's why I led you with these questions to.
More gender fluid than non-binary is how we're currently evolving. But
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, and also on the panel, I don't know why I completely we skipped over introductions. That's why. Soup, would you like to introduce yourself at all?
Sure. So I am Soup, which obviously is not my actual name. It's actually from a joke that went too far. Which is fine, because I suck at naming things, including myself. So I do happen to be non-binary with no other specific sub-label at the moment.
Okay.
And
So
I work
at
a veterinary hospital, so I've seen some shit, honestly. And I'm mostly here for moral support for Dream.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So you're gonna make me ask like an animal psychology question about gender, and I'm not sure if we have the time or the understanding to get into that.
Boy, but we're gonna do it.
No, not this time. Not this time. It might be a side panel thing.
Okay.
So, how do non-binary individuals' experiences of gender differ from those of cisgender and transgender individuals?
Who would you like the answer from?
Well,
Whomever.
Go ahead,
I think
Sip.
the first thing I would like to address there is that non-binary is a trans identity. Because you're not identifying with the gender you were assigned at birth.
Okay.
Which is the definition of trans.
Mm-hmm.
As for how those experiences differ, I might not be the best person to speak about that because I'm a rather solitary person. I don't go out enough to experience like the whole discrimination thing, and I pass pretty well as my assigned gender at birth, and I don't mind that.
It works out.
It works out fine for me.
Ray, would you have any experience in that one? I know we're going through a super pivotal time in their life, so
Yes.
that discrimination is really prevalent right now.
From what I have watched and had to be supportive of with my child, there's a lot of you're just confused. There's a lot of you have to pick. There's a lot of going a little bit deeper into having to prove to the rest of the world who you are as a person.
Which sucks because, like, as a 90s kid, you know, I mean, it's not very much the same, but we had our tomboys. You know, no one said you had to pick. You know, you had the little girl that run out and looking like it was one of my buddies playing football with us and all that stuff. I mean, you know, nobody was like, well, you have to pick. It was celebrated. I remember a girl joined the Optimist football team for the first time in the town I lived in. And it was just celebrated. It was all over the newspaper. People were excited. They come to see, you know, and then, but now it's like.
But the opposite way in the 90s, you couldn't see a little boy in girl clothes. That shit was nothing. I was never, never saw that. That was never like allowed. Like,
I would say, sorry. I would say the biggest conflict that we have encountered as far as gender expression is people telling my child that they don't exist. That's not a thing.
oh,
That's so stupid.
it is hard enough.
I hate stupid people. I really do. Can we bash like 8-year-old me for a second?
Absolutely. We would love to.
Pretty fucking inconsiderate. I'll never forget it. I really won't. It's like burned in my head. Played with this girl and her sister, but her sister, what would be known as today, was non-binary, and trying to find their way in the world and stuff like that. And I remember throwing a ball and being like, "Go get it, it," And I called the kid an it. Fucking dickbag, right? If it makes anybody feel better, I got in a hell of a lot of trouble for it. So
good.
It does. That actually does.
Good. Like, that's why it's burned in my head, because of how much trouble I got in for it. And ever since then,
as you should.
Yeah.
I got it a lot growing up.
I want to have growing up you.
Me too.
So apologies for my dickhead of a childhood.
I would like to say kudos to whoever reprimanded you for that, because that is another giant problem, is adults that are teaching their children these things.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I could probably, like, if it were been planned a little better and stuff like that, I probably could have called my sister, and she knows that story. She was there. I'm pretty sure she was the one that told on me, because it made the girl cry. But I'm pretty sure my sister was the one that ratted me out, so I'm thankful for that for sure. But kudos to her.
Good on her for getting you in trouble.
Right? Absolutely. And if anybody listening to this, if your kid's being a dick to somebody that may be non-binary or transgender or anything that's different from what they are, they need their ass kicked a little bit.
I do want to toss up just real quick. There are some non-binary people who use it as their chosen pronoun, and that's okay if it's your choice. Calling someone who's not using that pronoun, it is transphobic, basically.
Right.
I don't think that they grew up in the 90s. They might be a little younger than us, that they're okay with that, because
that's kind of along the same lines as any pronoun, though. It's a personal choice, and calling any individual by a pronoun that they do not identify with used in a hurtful manner is wrong, regardless of what that term is.
Absolutely. So what are some things that your kid's going through, like that is different, though, like some key points besides like the few that you've mentioned already? Any others?
The key points. A lot of it is because of the area we live in and the family that we have. We have a very conservative family, and live in a conservative area. It's just the lack of acceptance is the biggest thing. And my kid, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna put it out there. With my mother had the conversation with my child. You have been my granddaughter since you were born. You will be my granddaughter until you get surgery to change otherwise.
It doesn't take that.
What is it about people that think they don't have to respect children? Like,
but things like that are every day, and my child having to learn where to have to pass and where it's okay to be themselves shouldn't be a thing. My kids should just be able to be themselves.
Well, you have a pretty cool kid, so I will say that. Like, if I could ever tell them directly some advice, just in a more kid-friendly way, is fuck what anybody thinks and be your own person. Because by the time you get to high school, nobody's going to care. You don't have to remember any of those people. And move to a more or less conservative area.
It's not just peers, though. It's everybody. Like the pediatrician, when I'm trying to find a therapist to help my child process some of the non-related traumas, that's a thing that has to be lumped in. I have to make sure that therapist is trans friendly.
I want to chime in, Logan, real quick again to sing praises at Cigna. They keep a directory of service providers who have self-identified as trans friendly or queer friendly or LGBT friendly. And there are almost 60 of them in West Virginia.
And if there's that many in West Virginia, I can't imagine how many there are in places like New York and California. And, you're more liberal.
There might be a few options. Cool.
The other thing, since you're mentioning insurance, we are on. My child is on Medicaid. Good luck.
That puts a big hamper on all of it. That's wild.
Medicaid and Medicare both are a joke when it comes to anything gender affirming.
I couldn't even get regular therapy on Medicaid.
I'm learning that Medicare is a joke even for older adults. So it seems like it's just a joke all around.
It's a joke for cis females too. Like, I had preventative medical care for reproductive care for females is not covered by Medicare. Like, I had an IUD because I have endometriosis, and putting that in was not covered by Medicare, nor was the removal.
Now, I will say in North Carolina, they do cover a lot of that under our family planning Medicaid. Like, I can get a vasectomy, birth control would be free for Jen, no matter what type she chooses, stuff like that. So it's crazy that it's not even just different from like country to country. It's different from state to state and even county to county. I mean, get along, everybody. It's not that hard.
The acceptance rates are going up, though, okay?
Absolutely.
In most places. There are places where they're going down, and it's kind of important to bear that in mind. Mainly as states get redder.
Texas.
Yep. Florida.
See, like your more conservative states are, unfortunately, if I have any conservative viewers, which I highly doubt, but your states are going backwards in time. So we'll let you know what it's like in the future when you're in the dark ages.
Next question, mister.
In what ways do non-binary individuals face gender discrimination and oppression, and how do they resist it?
I think I already touched on that a little bit with the whole "you don't exist."
Yeah.
And I guess the best way to resist it is the same as what Alice had touched on earlier, by forming those communities and standing up for each other.
I love that. That's probably going to be the theme for most of these is being a part of a community that cares. And that's, unfortunately, even within the LGBT community, there are people that are against, transgender or asexual or bisexual or, anything that's different from them. There's still going to be people that are against you. And it sucks. Soup, do you have anything to jump in on there with how to resist the discriminations and oppressions? And
most of these are just general trans things, but I'm very thankful that my workplace is very accepting, and I don't have to do a lot of, hey, actually, my pronouns are they, them, please stop calling me she. But really reinforcing and getting rid of the idea of you're interrupting and being a nuisance when you correct people is important. Because correct them, do it. They're being rude.
And if they're not being rude, they appreciate you correcting them because they don't want to be rude, and they'll appreciate it. So there'll be somebody like me who's thankful that, yes, it might have took 3 times, but we finally got it,
Mm-hmm.
And the acceptance. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's very good. Thank you.
And I will go ahead and name drop here because they'll probably never sponsor me. Applebee's seems to be one of those not so inclusive companies. I worked with 2 trans individuals, and it was both sides. It was male to female, and then I worked with one that was female to male. And so like they like refused to change their name tag, wouldn't fix their name in the system, and nothing like that. So this person was born as Matthew and wanted to be something different, and they just absolutely fought tooth and nail not to do it. So finally, we took it upon ourselves to do it. A couple of the coworkers, we got together, broke into the office, got the label maker, fixed some shit in the computer, and there we were. We all got in a little bit of trouble for it, but what are they gonna say? So, and it may not be the company. Let me clear that up. It may not be the company. It may have just been the managers.
And that's another thing. Companies usually don't have a problem putting a nickname on your name tag.
Exactly, because several of them there had nicknames, but she would never wear a name tag because the only one they would give her said Matthew. We tossed somebody out one night because they kept calling her slurs and all this stuff, and I'm not sure how much I can get away with for telling the story, so I'm not going to say the slurs and such. But we ended up going to the table like, you are not welcome here. Don't pay for nothing. Don't, just get up and go. Yes, right.
I would like to add another thing that your story brought to my mind of another way to fight discriminatory practices is to hold people accountable. If you are a company that doesn't condone discrimination and there's a manager that is actively discriminating, hold that person accountable.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
How can non-binary individuals find community and support in a society that often reinforces the gender binary?
Generally, just looking for your LGBTQ communities, whether they're in person at community centers or online in support groups, can really help. Like, you can find a Facebook group for anything, honestly.
Absolutely.
To kind of add to the Facebook group thing, that was kind of the point of me making my Facebook page. I kind of like a horny shit poster on Facebook, and the point of it was to connect with other queer people. And I'm at almost 900 followers at this point. I've got a Discord server with 40 other queer people in it, and it's really good to go out and actually just try on social media to find those groups. Though you do kind of have to vet some people, because just because someone's queer, non-binary, or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean that they're clear of being a shitty person.
Absolutely, and that's the whole premise of this whole brand that people are watching it on. I don't tolerate any of the homophobia, transphobia. It doesn't matter. One of my biggest contributors is trans, and that follows me and is always posting and commenting and interacting. And I'd fight just about anybody for, I don't know on a personal level, but I know that they're safe where they're at and they feel safe enough to participate. And and these are photo threads and stuff like that, so they're posting who they are. They're happy to do so, and they're comfortable doing so. And I've taken a couple losses on my brand.
Are they losses though?
Well, okay, let me just phrase this. I've had some adjustments made to my brand because people do come out and say something they shouldn't. And at first it was like, hi, I'm going to just call them out and kick them out. And now it's just, I just kick them out, whatever. Get plug out. Nobody likes you. So being inclusive and being somewhere where people feel like they're safe is super vital to what I'm doing.
There are also a lot of groups, specifically in areas like redder places where it's not necessarily safe to in person be your authentic self openly. There's a lot of groups that you can find, again, by online research, that have specific keywords that you can use around people that if they know that keyword, they're safe. But you have to be careful with that too, because some people can learn those words and use it in a predatory way. But
and if you get into like speaking in code like that, you have to be very careful where you do it and like make sure that you're not like, for example, giving it out on a panel here.
exactly. That's why I didn't say any of them.
They're not safe anymore.
That's why I didn't say any of them.
See, smarter than me, because I would just be like, this is what you can say. So that'd be a terrible spy.
But yes, there are ways to, without jeopardizing your personal safety, find like-minded individuals that will be supportive.
And I hope soon on the resources panel or the resources page of the Kinkslayer site that we can get more resources that are safe spaces. So if you guys know any, send me messages, drop them in. I'm going to add them in. And I'll probably make that a complete subsection of safe spaces for certain people, you know, and then like general safe spaces. Don't link like exact Facebook groups and stuff like that, but like, you know, resources such as like an LGBT site or somewhere they can start to do their own research and find better company and better places. So I'm not exactly putting people out there as well.
One I will specifically mention here, I'll message you about it too, but the Transverse, they have a lot of researches. They have a lot of like lawyers that are members of the Transverse if you need civil defense or anything like that too.
Yeah, we definitely got to get those resources together. There are lots of people that may need them that don't know about them. And that's the best part of having a community that does know different things. Like, you know, Alice talking about how Cigna is a fantastic health insurance company. I had no idea. I would have known that. You know, Googling that probably wouldn't have told me that. Or I would have never thought to Google that, you know, unless I was in that situation or as a transgender person or something like that. You know, I wouldn't think to Google what insurance company is accepting of transgender people. So,
can I rewind for just a second?
Absolutely.
Another good way to fight discrimination, it's kind of a recap on listening, but to be a better ally, don't just speak out for someone all the time. Know when to listen. And if you have to speak out because it's not safe for the other person to speak out, know what they actually want you to say.
Very nice. You guys are giving me like a lot of good clips to cut out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and obviously, I mean, I know we're all up here live together on video and such, but if you prefer me to use audio, then by all means, I'm happy to do so. 1 second. Sorry.
In the dead space, can I plug something just real quick?
Absolutely. Plug all the holes.
Shall I, Ben?
I mean, if you want. We can be flexible. Outside of like digital space, I personally help run a nonprofit for trans advocacy. I actually just sent you a link tree for me, and the top link on that is the link to like the tenants page, like what the nonprofit kind of is. It's a religious org. We're calling it a church. It's not Christian though, but it's the top link is just straight to what does the church stand for? What is this org trying to do?
Good, then that's definitely a source I'll add.
And one of the things that I personally do is I will help people find those resources, like insurance companies that help. We also on a case by case basis will help people with like physically going places to get treatment for like trans, like gender affirming healthcare, or we've taken a couple of people out of state for abortions because they're not legal here anymore.
Speaking of abortions, before not to get off on that tangent, South Carolina Supreme Court just declared that abortions are legal in South Carolina. So until somebody else comes in and tries to fuck that up, they are protected right now. So
in South Carolina.
Yeah, in South Carolina. But I'm saying, that's one more state that's staying with the times, even though they are a majority of a red state. So that's kind of nice.
I don't want to be wrong, but is North Carolina not?
No,
it's
we're
still
protected
legal
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
We have no plans of overturning that at the moment that I know of. South is moving forward. Well, look, that state does not count as the South. Okay, nobody in the South counts that as a Southern state. So can somebody? So we've kind of touched on, and truly, some of these words do seem synonymous with each other. Transgender, non-binary, like they seem like an overall, like an umbrella. Go ahead.
Well, they're not necessarily synonymous. There is a bunch of overlap.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Like it's kind of like the whole square is a rectangle, but not all rectangles are squares.
Gotcha.
If you're non-binary, you are trans, but trans doesn't necessarily mean non-binary.
Very nice. Thank you. Another one. Thank you. 106. Got it. Okay, so I got to remember these moments. These are beautiful. So, where does gender fluid fall in all this?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Under non-binary.
So being gender fluid is being non-binary.
Typically.
Kind of. Again, that's another individually based thing. Non-binary tends to be more gravitating towards one spot of the one spot, not along the spectrum. Gender fluid kind of moves and changes and shifts.
Hence the
like
fluid.
Water. Yes.
Very nice. Okay. So with that, does anybody on the panel identify as gender fluid?
I think Tarun was the only one, but he's not here currently.
Okay.
I do not, but my child does.
Okay. Well, yeah, and I know Soup is quite close to Dream, so probably has a little knowledge in that field as well. So we'll go through it again. I guess with you two again. Looky there, and Alice, I'm sure you have some knowledge as well. And Lulu, if you're there, if you have any knowledge on it, by all means, hop in. So how do they experience gender different than somebody that's cisgender?
It has a lot to do with the fluidity. They don't necessarily identify as the same feeling all of the time. I am this, but I feel like this, but I feel like this. It's kind of
so. Would you ask the person like on a daily basis what they're feeling like today? Is that a proper thing to do?
Depends on the person.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
It depends on the person. Like some of them will say, hey, these are the pronouns I use. You could cycle through them when you're talking about me and they'll be comfortable with that. Or they might have like mask days and femme days and want those pronouns used only on those days. So go ahead.
With my child, I do ask because I'm the one that does the laundry. How are you feeling today? What kind of clothes do I need to make sure are clean for you? But again, it's individual. My child prefers to be asked. And yes, we use different pronouns.
By you.
Yes, by me, but not necessarily by Joe Schmo on the street.
Yeah. Like, okay, that makes sense. As a parental unit, that's a closer bond you guys have. And of course, that would be something you would discuss.
I did at one point know a gender fluid person that actually had different hair bands to signify which pronouns they wanted used for that day.
But if nobody knew the hairbands, then nobody knew. But so that I like that. That's neat too.
That's also a trust thing. Like the people that they know and trust
Yeah.
would know that.
That's the one I probably get in the most trouble with. Is the gender fluid, just because, you know, it may not cross my mind to ask that person that day. Look, I am trying to be a good person. Like, I try every day to be a good person. We've talked about this. If I'm an offensive asshole, it's usually on purpose. Or if I'm an offensive asshole, it's obviously accidental. So, you know, it's very obvious one way or the other. But, you know, that's something that may not necessarily, and that's that whole, what's a good word for it? Conditioning of, you know, 30 plus years of not really interacting or knowing very many gender fluid people and stuff like that. So it's not on the front of my brain to ask, to take in that perspective. So this person may be feeling he today, they may be feeling she tomorrow. It's just one of those things. And I have personally been very disrespectful to that before. And yeah, I've since learned better.
I really like and appreciate that as a society, we are taking these steps to bring these vocabulary terms into defining how we feel inside, because that's a big step for all of us as humans, is figuring out how we feel inside and being able to use words to represent that. Maybe not as hard for some as it is for others.
I am just being the hand.
You know what a dreamy hand it is.
He's the hand for now, but if any of us start talking shit about gender fluid, he's going to be the fifth.
I'm just trying, like I said, that these topics truly are to help the community that as a whole that watch it understand. But I'm a bit selfish, just so I can learn some shit. I want to learn more, and if it benefits everybody else, awesome. That's why I'm glad to have such a diverse set of friends. Assets to the brand. But that's why it's important for me to have you guys as my friends, because you can correct me, whether it's privately or publicly. I don't care, as long as I'm being corrected and sent in a proper direction.
Whether you're this human's friend or not, you have all permission to correct.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's like half the fun of my shit, is if I say something that's stupid or misinformed, by all means, tell me. I am happy to learn, and my opinions can be swayed. I'm not one of these jackasses that are like, nope, this is the only thing I believe, and that's the only thing I'm ever going to believe. So, you know, it's important for me to learn that. So thank you guys for teaching me all those things. And I guess we can do this last one, because, truly, do we really need to talk about cis? I'm just kidding. It's part of the spectrum there as well, so it's definitely important.
But the questions that are based, we don't have much to deal with.
Yes and no.
Well, you've listened and met plenty of people that are trans. So as a trans woman, how do your experiences differ from somebody that is a trans woman or gender fluid or non-binary?
We just talked about all of that, though.
But how do your experiences differ?
May I chime in?
Yes, please.
Cis women get shit too. This isn't like a competition to see who suffers the most. Everyone gets shit all the time.
Right.
So, the question is, what do you experience as a cis woman that's based in being a cis woman?
There's still a lot of intolerant people in the world that don't believe women can do the damn thing. And it's pretty obvious that we are doing the damn thing. Whatever the thing is, we can do it.
You guys remember that commercial? Was it Mia Hamm and Michael Jordan? Anything you can do, I can do better?
Oh my goodness.
So
yes, right.
I can actually give an exact example of that as a child. I got my math teacher fired because my math teacher accused me of cheating on several tests because I sat next to a boy and my grades were always significantly better than said boy, but I was apparently cheating off of said boy. And his exact words, there is no way a girl can be that good at math. And I had to sit in in-school suspension and redo 4 exams.
See, like this kind of stuff starts at such an early age. You know,
That was
little girls can't play football. Like, why can't little girls play football? I know some girls that could rock a motherfucker out on the field.
Little girls can play football now, thank goodness.
Yeah, but it also goes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't remember that whole debacle? Was it the Olympics?
It's every level.
A lot of different things, but like I remember there being a big thing about the Olympics.
Yeah, like some argument over whether or not trans women should be allowed to compete. I think it was like in swimming.
Like what? Well, yes.
Okay.
Scientifically, our bodies are very different from male to female.
I'm gonna stop you already.
All right, let's stop me there.
The scientific difference between male and female is kind of a transphobic argument to make. I promise you, there are women on the planet who are stronger than I am.
Now, can I finish? You ready? I'm gonna make your stop not a good stop. As a baseline, as just the average person doing no kind of extra work to take care of themselves, we're very diverse. But women can absolutely beat the shit out of me, easily. But I know men that are amazing dancers because they've worked on themselves to be that. At a base level, and that's what I mean by as at a base level of, if we're talking, I've been playing Pokemon Violet lately. If we're talking in terms of Pokemon, if you're both level 2, you both have different stats. But as you grow and develop a certain way and take certain things to enhance yourself, not take certain things, but take extra measures to enhance yourself, whether it's working out, reading, studying, writing, cooking.
You're talking about Pokemon. The Pokemon read, study, write, and cook? No, they just eat other Pokemon, don't they?
Well, if we want to,
there are also drugs.
But if you want to give your Pokemon an X defend in battle, it's going to boost that stat up. It needs that to boost it a little bit higher. But back to the real life metaphor, you're going to become better than anyone else at anything, regardless of sex or gender, if you work at it. Fair?
The second half kind of cancels out the first half of what you said.
Exactly.
The scientific difference specifically is something I wanted to call out because that's medical bioessentialism is what that argument is called. And it's the biological male. Since I was assigned male at birth, when I started transition, I started being referred to as a biological male for the first time in my life.
Which is insane.
And that argument, specifically the scientific difference argument between male and female is bullshit at its surface and when you dig into it.
Would you say it's the same amount of bullshit as from race to race?
100%.
Okay.
I love when I get to say things and everybody corrects me. That's what I want. That right there. I make stupid statements so people will correct it so the next person that hears that won't be stupid and they will understand why. Because absolutely, everybody is equal. Equal doesn't mean fair, but equal means you have the same ability to become something.
like my counterpoint to that argument is usually Michael Phelps. A lot of the times when you have people arguing about man versus woman and their relative abilities, they start boiling down to like men are stronger, women tend to be able to hold their breath longer, etc. Michael Phelps is a good example of to the point where it's nearly mutation, an expanded lung capacity. Like his lungs take up more of a ratio of his chest than most of his competitors do, and well above average. And his body produces, I think, something like a quarter of the lactic acid that a normal body does. So he can hold his breath longer, he can breathe in more, and he gets tired much slower than everyone else does because of the way his body works. So, like, if we were going to say that men and women shouldn't compete with each other, or biological male and female shouldn't compete with each other because of those biological differences, he should only compete with other people who have that same set of advantages, which is unreasonable.
Right. I've hated it since day one, that whole argument about should trans people be able to participate in the same sport as the people they've transitioned to. Because wasn't there a trans woman that competed and got like blown the fuck out?
Mm-hmm.
So, where was that advantage everybody talked about?
On my own personal experience in transition, before I started transition, I was benching 280 pounds. I was benching my own body weight. Now, I can't even bench 150. And that's still working out semi-regularly, still like trying to keep that muscle, not mass, but strength there.
Right.
Just at the end of transition, I came out weaker because my body's rebuilding and I have to retrain the muscles. So if anything, it makes you worse at the sports that you're trying to compete in.
Which is phenomenal. Like, I really do love that. And I would hope someday, there are many hopes I have for sporting events, but I would hope someday that they're completely like gender neutral. If you're good enough to be on the team, you're good enough to be on the fucking team. And I would hope that someday, I've seen it 1,000 times on the internet, that they would start putting regular people in the Olympics to show the difference between these super freaks of athletes and like my ass puffing and puffing.
That's what the Olympics is about.
But okay, fine. Take a track star from high school, let him compete. He's still gonna get blown the fuck out.
Make him feel bad.
Yes, right.
The other issue that comes across a lot in sports, specifically in high schools and middle schools, is the locker room controversy.
Yeah.
My solution to that, there's already other bathrooms at the school. Why do they have to change in the fucking locker room?
Because that would make less sense.
And not all schools have like a gender neutral bathroom or like a family bathroom. So the people who don't identify as boy or girl at the school are just kind of fucked. They have to go into one that they don't fit into and is an unsafe environment for them.
You know what? I have a fair solution for everything.
Oh my God, y'all.
Take the locker rooms out. No more locker rooms. Everybody got to take their dirty, smelly asses home in their own cars and change there.
That's not good hygiene.
No.
They can learn hygiene. They'll either be the smelly kid at school then, or they'll be like, fuck, I gotta get clean.
That's unrealistic. There's too many kids to send through gym class. I don't see why we can't just have more privacy. Where is the privacy gone?
My suggestion is actually counter to that, Jen.
Oh, okay.
Is to get rid of the separation altogether in locker rooms and teach children from very young ages, hey, bodies are normal. Be respectful to each other.
Oh, yes. I like that too.
That is, yes, stop sexualizing the human body. It's just
especially children's bodies.
Exactly. A body is a body. Like,
but hold on.
This is a vessel that gets me to my computer and to my cheese and nothing else.
Right. It's your car. Like, this is my car for snacks, you know?
Exactly.
It just does all kind of cool shit. You know, it's got way cooler features than my actual car.
This kind of makes me think of the kid. So boys at that age are gross and they like talk dirty. Like, okay, I'll specific like 16 and up, or I don't fucking know. Teenage hormonal boys are dirty to girls. I don't know if I would.
But if we started teaching differently early enough and teaching that no matter who you are, that's disrespectful.
It really makes me think back to the difference in a man who was raised around women who were open about
nudity. They're being a person. You're just a person. We all
and the respect and taught respect. Sorry.
I think that would go a long way to solve a lot of problems. It would go a long way towards erasing rape culture.
Yeah. I think it's very, education is the first step for sure. I remember there was a girl at a house I was staying at for like a couple months, and her friend came over and like got in the shower and all that stuff, and then like I'm in the living room just hanging out playing my game, and she walks out, towel around her head, not a damn thing else on. I mean, beautiful girl, and like I looked and I was like, oh God, like I tried not to stare, but she was like, have you never seen someone naked before? I was like, yeah, but she's like, well, we're not going to sleep together. You're not coming after me. You're not being weird. Don't make it weird. She's like, I'm naked. It happens.
I am that person when the camera's not rolling, no clothes are on. But sometimes when the camera's rolling too.
That's more of a conversation. Let's see, even myself, like I still have those moments of, I've been taught to be kind of ashamed of being naked my whole life. So if somebody walks in on me, it's like, oh shit, let me cover up, like fuck for. And then at like 20s, I decided that everybody should always see me naked when we drink and party, and then now I'm just comfortable with it.
I'm sorry, guys, but this just made me think of like back in the what times where we all used to use the same hole to poop in, and it was like a
medieval times.
It was like a no, like are we talking about this?
The
wasn't
communal toilets?
Yeah, everybody saw everybody's everything then. I imagine it was much more freer.
Well, see, like one of the bars I used to go to, they had a gender neutral bathroom. It wasn't even this whole time of, the bathroom ordeal and all those bills and all that bullshit. I'd go into this bar and the door would either be locked or not, and then there was another restroom near it that had multiple stalls in it, but they were all stalls. Like anybody can go in, do what they wanted to. You go in and see some girl doing blow off the kitchen counter or the bathroom sink, and you go take a pee and you wash your hands and
try not to shake your water on her
right.
blow.
You don't want to mess that up. But yeah, Chamberlain is absolutely correct, and we haven't had this conversation yet. And I'm so sad that Dream is not up here on the panel. But the key is
Dream wanted to be a nuisance, honestly. That's what that was earlier.
Well, come be a nuisance. I'm always happy to have a nuisance. So let me ask, as the majority of the panel isn't, well, actually it's kind of even, but either way, what can cisgender people do to be better allies?
Stop killing us.
Education. Educate yourself. If a word's confusing, yes, it's the newer terms. All you have to do is say, hey, Google, what the fuck does this mean? Google will tell you all about it. And you can go to other websites. You can learn going deeper. You can learn all kinds of stuff. Fun.
And for that, you don't have to understand it. You just have to respect it, honestly. Especially with neopronouns.
Yeah.
Right. See, I don't understand the neo-pronoun thing, but like you said, I don't have to understand it. Just got to respect it. If somebody says my pronoun is ze, well, Well, see you later. I don't know. Like, okay, like, have a good day. You know, use the proper pronouns. Be respectful. It's not that difficult. If you can call somebody by their nickname, you can call somebody by their pronoun. Hey, you want that shit too, ain't you? Sorry, my friend landed on my screen.
I think the biggest way we can be better allies is active listening.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You know, and it takes a really good person will stand up for somebody. So whether you're straight, cis, or anything in between, if somebody's being done wrong, stand the fuck up for them. You know, I was willing, like we know me though, but I was willing to go toe to toe with my managers at that job every fucking day about it. Like, they would call the name Matthew out and like, hey, nobody works you by that name. Try again. You know, like, constantly. Like, I would get so much shit for it, but you have to be willing to stand up for another person.
In the way that they want you to.
Right.
That is important.
Yeah. Because, I mean, some people are just like, whatever, call me whatever. But they were very, you know, she was very insistent that this is her name. This is who she is. Please respect that.
Stop perpetuating stereotypes in the media.
Perpetuating.
Perpetuating.
Do
this, y'all. It'll take.
Oh, we're gonna do this. No L.
Perpetuating.
Nope. No L.
Perpetuating.
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 Close enough.
There you go.
Good job.
Doesn't feel right though.
But you know,
with
like,
your accent, it'd probably be perpetuating.
But see, like, and that was one of those things where, you know, not only would I go toe to toe with managers, I did that over stupid shit, but like over important things. And once coworkers would, you know, snicker about it and talk about, well, that's weird, why, and all, it was like, it's not your place to understand. You know, I call, you know, there was a girl there that worked there, and it was just bullshit between us, but I called her Little Bobby. Don't know why it happened. It just happened one day. But she didn't understand it. She was like, that's weird. Why would I call somebody a name if it's not their name? I was like, really, Little Bobby? And she's like, oh. I was like, yeah, if I can call you that, and it's a respect thing. Yep, this example you always give, I love it. If somebody loses their wallet, you go find them. You find her with her groceries, having the clerk check them out. He bags the groceries, you hand her the wallet. You started off strong and then you lost it. Because how do you know it's her?
All right. You're kind of towing the line too. Are you assuming my gender, which is another very common transphobic shit?
No, I'm saying, how do you know it's her? There was a guy we met at con. Absolutely fully dressed as a beautiful woman. Pronouns were he, him. Had you approached him from behind and said, here, miss, here's your wallet, that would be wrong. Now, if you handed the wallet and was like, here, miss, here's your wallet, and I go by they, them, and they correct you, and then you correct it, cool, no problem.
So
I'm not belittling it. I'm just saying, if you go to find them, you find them with their groceries, having the clerk check them out. They hand the bag of groceries. You hand them their wallet. Dream's not here. I got a poke.
Oh,
Mister.
I think this has to do a lot with like gender stereotypes. Because perhaps that person just looked very feminine.
You're right.
We all do it every day.
That's a natural thing to do, you know. But it comes down to the respect thing. If you are correct, fucking correct it.
So, like, the assumption there, to an extent, is fine until you're corrected. If someone goes, hey, thanks for bringing me my wallet, I go by they, them, then you use they them, and you're not a dick.
Right, and that's what I wasn't doing the whole belittling, assuming my gender bullshit. Like, genuinely though, like, you know, we all do it. Like Soup said, you know, we all do assume somebody's gender until we are corrected or we know them on that level.
Do we though?
Absolutely. If you see someone that presents male, do you assume they're male?
I guess so.
And like
But if
that,
they're transitioning and they say that they prefer the term she, you would correct it.
yeah, that assumption in an impersonal context is fine. But once you have a personal context where they've informed you of their pronouns, their gender, what be it, then it starts to be a problem.
The really cute person that that was a good example. This absolutely beautiful person. We were all talking outside, and you know they introduced themselves with their name and said their pronouns are they them. And just in conversation, we had only done the introduction one quick time. One of us said she, and then you know one of us corrected the other one and said it's they. And then we just were there. We're like, okay, cool. Sorry about that. You know? And then it goes from there. Like the other day when I messaged the group, and I said she, and it's they. So you know, corrected that. You just gotta fix it when you fuck up.
I felt bad though because I had to be corrected more than once. I really did feel bad because I had to be corrected more than once, and it made me feel terrible. Like I wasn't trying to be like mean or anything.
It takes a lot to undo conditionings you've had your whole life. Yes, right?
I would also like to add that it's again a highly individual thing and sometimes safety based. Sometimes even if you do know someone's preferred gender pronouns and all of that, you don't know every situation if they are safe for you to use how they actually identify, or if it's a situation where for safety, unfortunately, they have to mask.
Yes, because unfortunately, some people are in unsafe moments of their life and with unsafe people, and being understanding of that is very important.
I look forward to you when my son is grown and he doesn't have to fight this battle, and your kids are grown already and they don't have to fight this battle anymore, and they're just who they are. But it's just now beginning, you know, like we're just in the early stages of all this and fighting back and making sure the world knows how to be a decent fucking person.
I will say, as a counterpoint to that, people outside the gender binary have existed for as long as we have documented history.
Yes.
And for most of that history, they were either like respected and had spiritual like professions, or were seen as advisors, or people who could, like, if not leading like a religious context, they were seen as like counselors because they could see the world from either side. And like we have all the way back as far as I believe ancient Sumer is our first documented third gender person. So like that's been a through line for all of human history, and it's only really in like the last 100-ish years, starting with Magnus Hirschfeld's institute being burnt down in Germany, that like the idea that they didn't exist at all has ever even been said.
And it says so much because there are cultures in today that still respect, you know, the transgender, the two spirits, the non-binary, the all those things. They still respect that and hold it in high esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we're over here being fucking
Yeah, the gender binary is a very Western concept. I actually have a two-spirit friend who doesn't consider himself trans because in their culture, two-spirit is a recognized gender.
Mm-hmm.
right.
So they were two-spirit from birth, so they didn't trans to anything.
That's
It makes sense.
It's accepted. Like, it's that simple. It's accepted. And that's the part that bothers me the most is like, just fucking accept it. Like, it's respect it, accept it.
Can I go on a very small rant here?
Absolutely. Those are my favorite.
Gender reveal parties for unborn children are fucking stupid.
Fuck gender reveal parties for anybody.
Oh.
Can I be a little obtuse and say that I think that not even obtuse, I think the LGBT, the trans community should take over the concepts of gender reveal parties.
I have been to transgender reveal parties, and like the way trans people do it a lot of the time is a lot safer. So you don't have like the hyper masculine, let's go burn down a forest to announce our child's gender.
You don't like shooting tannerite to show off who your baby is?
No.
Well, America.
I had one friend who had like a coming out party, which was their gender reveal, and like they had these spoons that changed color in heat. So it was like a big tea party, and when we stirred our tea, the spoons revealed that they were blue.
That is awesome. But I want to see that. I want to see, you know what? And I think that's as funny and kind of wild as it seems. You know, the LGBT community, add straight people in there, really fucking drive them crazy. Then they're a part of the community they want to hate so much.
But
I got a tangent real quick.
that's why we call those allies.
Straight people are already forcibly inserting themselves into LGBTQ plus spaces under the moniker of super straights, which I don't know if you've even dealt with.
How does one be super straight?
You're so straight that you don't acknowledge trans people exist. That's what it boils down to, basically. But like it goes so far into like alt-right chuddery. It's
fuck those guys.
Yeah, I'm not hurt. Okay,
I'll say it. You don't have to. Fuck those guys.
I'll say it with you. Fuck those guys.
But like, what super straight? So the super straights want to be a part of the LGBT community. I don't think they understand what the T means. It doesn't mean tomato.
You run into a lot of people online and in these kind of alt-right spaces who just say LGBT community because they don't acknowledge that the trans people are part of the community.
That sounds fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I like
everything has a purpose. There's a reason the L is in front. You know, it wouldn't sound right if it was a GBLT community.
It would sound like a sandwich.
Right, exactly.
Okay. All right, so Chamberlain's got a great question.
Absolutely. How do you know what question not to ask and what to ask? So I'm assuming this is based on the gender.
So there are like levels of question, right? You can go, hi, my name's Alice. My pronouns are they, them. What are yours? And like that's just like a basic right there with asking what someone's name is, right? There's not a whole lot of invasion there. And then they can tell you how they want to identify given the context that they're in. Not like you wouldn't necessarily ask a random person, like a random cis person on the street, hey, what do your genitals look like? So like don't lead into with, oh, you're trans? Have you had the surgery? Because that's the same question, right? So there's levels of invasiveness of the questions, and like questions that aren't invasive typically are safe to ask to most people. And if someone says, hey, I don't want to talk about that, you should respect it.
I would say to add to that, it depends on where you're at and the individual person. If there's a question that could cause a breach of safety, I will always harp on safety. Any questions that could cause that person to be endangered are not okay to ask in public.
But and that's the thing. And some people will introduce themselves with their pronouns, and when they say, it doesn't matter if somebody walks up looking like me and says my pronouns are she, her, fucking address them with she, her. Mm-hmm. That's simple. Now, to be fair, it will take some work because your brain is still going to process that person as what they present. But you can do it. It's not that fucking hard. You might fumble once or twice, but you figure the fuck out real quick.
as you get more experienced respecting people's pronouns, it takes less and less work.
Now, I will say I do still stumble sometimes, like with my child. I do. But it's not necessarily the stumbling and correcting it that is the issue. It's the intentional misidentifying.
And that's the biggest thing is like, are you intentionally being a dick, or are you just trying to undo conditioning for your whole life?
And there's also, to a much smaller degree of issue, like over like criticizing yourself when you correct yourself, because like it's not comfortable for someone to go like people still call me he him sometimes. So like when I correct them on that, they'll be sitting there going, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm trying to be a good ally." And they like start
for a fucking fifth time. Really? You don't? That's not appreciated?
And like they'll start like verbally self-flagellating, trying to make themselves like into a villain because they've misgendered you. And it's like, no, it's not on purpose. It's oh, they them, sorry, and move on, rather than like making this big performance, because then like the implicit point of those performances is to make that person uncomfortable correcting you again.
Okay, from the person who has been on the other side of that argument, I promise, from my perspective and for me, it was honest to God, genuine feeling fucking terrible that I could not get one thing right that someone had asked me to say right.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
So that's like a conversation with a therapist kind of can of worms, but it boils down to misgendering someone on accident isn't a big thing usually. Doing it on purpose is, and if you don't do the work to correct it in your head and you keep misgendering them on purpose, then it starts to be a problem eventually.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
to go back to Chamberlain's question, though, it's individual. It's individual based on situation, context, how comfortable that person is in the current context, and their trust level with you.
I know I've mentioned being autistic several times in every Munch so far. I'm going to do that again.
Are you autistic?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know.
It's very context aware, and it kind of relies on a lot of subtext that you might not pick up on, especially if you're autistic, because autistic people are famously bad at subtext. So like it's a good idea to establish what are safe questions, and you can do that like on a personal level as you get to know someone. But if you don't know them and don't have like a pre-established conversation, let them lead with the information they share. So like you can be like, "Hi, my name's Chamberlain. I use whatever your pronouns are. I'm sorry, I don't know them. And what are yours? What's your name? How do you identify?" And that's like surface level. They give you the information they want you to have. And if things move in the direction of talking about like queer identity and queer experience, then they can share more information as they're comfortable with, and you don't have to worry about that invasion of privacy.
And just because I am the absolute agent of chaos here, if you get the chance, sorry to be so specific, but if you get the chance to misgender a super conservative, rebel flag wearing Trump 2024 thing, please fucking do it.
No, not. All right.
No.
All right. I'm gonna run with that for a second, Mister.
Hold on, everybody, breathe. I live with this.
Real quick. I'm gonna get real spicy real quick.
Let's do it,
sir. You agree that there can't be shitty black people, like not black people in general, but like individual black people can be shitty. Yeah. Does it make it okay to use a racial slur against them?
No, because racial slurs are fucking stupid. But giving somebody an improper pronoun is not nearly the racist stuff.
Is an insult based on denying them their own identity.
Well, some of them deserve it. What if they deserve it? What if I know they deserve it?
It doesn't
May I
matter.
say something?
Sure.
This opens up the can of worms of, I really don't like this person. I think they're terrible. And it makes it okay to start misgendering people if you can provide a good enough reason, which is bad.
Exactly.
And it also opens up the argument of, well, they're doing it to me. Why can't I do it to them?
That's it.
Thank you all for participating in that, by the way. I really hope you understand when I'm just being absolutely chaotic for no reason. Only be a dick to people that need to be a dick to. Necessary balance.
You got your controversy corner, all right.
I didn't even mean to on that one. I mean, I did, but I didn't.
Fuck, I got played.
So, like, but honestly,
but truly, like it's, you know what? Let me phrase it in a way that makes people understand that I'm not really that fucking stupid. Don't stoop down to that level.
That's it. Thank you. We're trying to be the change that we want to see, and that includes treating people.
Treat assholes with respect too. If they don't deserve your respect, they don't deserve your time. Walk away.
So, Mister, do you play video games?
Absolutely.
Are you familiar with the concept of friendly fire?
Absolutely.
If you start misgendering someone on purpose, you will do friendly fire to the trans people around you who now know you are not a safe person to be around.
Exactly.
That's a good analogy too. I like that. You don't.
But genuinely, like seriously, like I said, that last statement is what I genuinely feel. Don't come down to their level. And if you feel like there's someone that doesn't deserve your respect, they don't deserve your time. And if you feel like there's somebody that you wouldn't feel safe leaving your trans friends with or introducing them to, then most of these people that are homophobic and transphobic don't deserve your time. So don't give it to them.
But the pronoun itself deserves respect.
Exactly. The person doesn't, but the pronoun does.
The words deserve respect. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah. That's what I was trying to think the whole time.
You don't get to overwrite their identity because they're an asshole. At worst, you should attempt to convince them to change it themselves.
Exactly. See, I love being able to just say shit, and you guys like, nah, fuck you. This is why you're wrong. Because do you know why I know these things and to say them a certain way is because I know people like them, like on a personal level, and I know how they think, and that's like, it's fucked up that I know people like that. I'm not really friends with them anymore, but like I know how they think, so therefore I can present some shit in a safe space coming from somebody that doesn't think that way, and it gets you guys a chance to really explain why the fuck that's wrong.
Can I be a little rude as the leftist real quick?
Oh, please do.
Your next cop, no fucking shit, you know people like that.
There's a reason there's the X in front of that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. God, I love that. God, that's beautiful. Say it again one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Your next fucking cop, no shit, you know people like that.
I feel like the hyenas in Lion King. Do it again, do it again. But no, like, and that's the thing. Like, so even in that aspect, you know how alienated I felt being in that profession, like my dream job to help people, to be there for people when they need me the most, and have to deal with that kind of shit on a daily basis.
And you had to learn that wasn't really what cops do.
Yeah,
they don't know. No.
So
now, not all cops are. I don't believe in the ACAB thing. I know some really good fucking police officers.
Yeah,
but they have to play in the same fucking club as these guys. So, like, they're choosing to be a part of that. So, like, I don't understand. They don't get that. They're still choosing to be there.
And that's why they're all bastards. It's the club.
I was trying to just mind my fucking business, not be a part of the department, but do the good things.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as I got to the office, I left.
And you got
I left. I'd roll up to the PD, bumping "fuck the police." Like it was a whole thing, like all the time. I'd get there, I'd sign in, I'd go in, make sure there was nothing that needed to be done as far as like certain patrols. Gone.
No, I have to stand up and say that that's not a good thing to say that all of them are bad, because
I tried to be a good one. No,
there are some that are still existing within, and they're still working, and they're still good people.
I will tell you that I am far too left to abide this conversation.
MCAB, most cops.
Well,
all cops
you're
are bastards.
not incompassionate about people in general, though, no matter what they identify or what job title they may hold, right?
How someone identifies and what job they hold are two very different things. I don't choose to be a gender. I would choose to be a cop if I were a cop.
And another difference too, you can go home and take that uniform off, and then you're not a cop. You can't go home and take your gender off.
And like that, taking that uniform off is why Mr. doesn't fall under ACAB right now. If Mr. went back to being a cop, you'd go back to being a bastard.
So like when he went to bed at night, he wasn't, and then when he went back to work, even though he still had the mentality that he did.
Because see, like, okay, so while, and there are, this is why I can never say all cops, because I was, and I didn't fall into that ideology. I went there to do what was best for the communities that I served. I didn't give a shit about the people I was working with. I cared about the community I was a part of. Now, given I no longer hold that position, but while I was in uniform, that I still wasn't that person. I'm not in uniform because I wasn't that person.
And the fact that you are not in uniform for not being that person re-solidifies the statement, because those that do try are often chastised and removed.
Right, absolutely.
Get fired or killed. That's what happens.
Right. No, I'm not disagreeing with that, but that still holds that statement true. That while I was a cop, I still wasn't a bastard. I wasn't an insensitive person. I wasn't a shithead, because I still had the ideology that everybody is a person. Everybody has feelings. Everybody has thoughts. Not every person that lives in a rundown crack house is a drug dealer. Maybe they have hard times. Maybe they can't afford to have anything better. I carried those thoughts with me every day to work.
If you had that kind of compassion in you, you got fired for not being a cop in uniform.
Pretty much, yeah. I was the worst cop ever to cop.
Yeah. So you just want a cop. And then you got fired. Bam.
There are still officers, there may be 3 in the whole fucking country that are still on their departments that have that compassion. Therefore, nullifying all part of that. That's all I mean. Most maybe, but not all.
As Sling Chamberlain just said.
Forgive me if I offend anyone, but I'm going to make like a penis and head out. Have an awesome night, guys. Love it. Love it.
Good night, Chamberlain.
Good night.
But I understand the sentiment on your end. I understand exactly what you mean. The whole thing of the system is fucked, and it teaches people to be that way.
Hey, ex-cop. Do you know what the original police were for in the United States?
Yeah.
What were they for?
Slave fugitive recovery.
Yep. And the system didn't get better.
I know. Like constantly. Like I'm not disagreeing, but there, it's that one person running against the wall, a brick wall with a hammer, trying to knock it down before somebody takes them out, and then another has to, and it's going to take years and years and years and decades and centuries before those changes become a thing where cops view people as people.
I would like to reroute this back to the original topic of the gender spectrum.
Yeah.
Everything you just said applies to the gender spectrum too.
People are people and should be treated.
It is going to take person after person fighting those everyday battles to make the changes.
And that was like, and I could truly say that though, like that was my goal. Was, you know, I should have kept my head down a little bit better to get up in the ranks to make the changes, but I went in and I was like, you know what, I'm bound and determined to give a good image. And the time I went in was the time George Floyd happened. So that's when I ramped that shit up. I mean, I was going through the neighborhoods on foot, talking to people, interacting, you know, see if they need anything. Do you know I got in trouble and fucking reprimanded when the coronavirus started because I offered to have a friend of mine go get groceries for people that couldn't go out, that couldn't get out, and they weren't allowed to go anywhere. We were under lockdown, all that stuff. I got reprimanded like a motherfucker for that.
That's not a cop's job.
How dare you serve the community?
I do understand what you're saying about that, Alice, to be clear, but there are a few people who are trying to be the change that they want to see, and they exist.
Mm-hmm.
We need more.
Just getting a job in general, Dream, you're right. Specifically choosing to be a cop is what puts you into a cab.
All right. I feel like
we should move back.
Hold on, I can't get back. Because, like, to me, I went there to make a difference. Fuck the department. The department didn't make two fucks to me. The company I work for now doesn't make two fucks to me. I'm there to do my job as I see my job should be done. To be there for people, to care, to make sure that the ones that are assholes, that are saying I smell marijuana in the car, to stand up right there on body cam and say, there's no weed in this car, dude. To make that impact. I mean, obviously it didn't fucking work. I'm not a cop anymore. But there's somebody somewhere in the country right now that's in the same situation, in a uniform, trying to make a difference. And yes, they may be pushed out, but there'll be somebody else to replace that person. And hopefully it'll be like a Hydra, and the next time there's two that come in. And that's the only way to make changes. It starts with one. But for the most part, MCAP. Yeah, big corporations are shit.
Big corporations 100% are shit.
But there are some good people that work for big corporations.
I work for a relatively big corporation, so like,
you're not a shitty person, are you?
I mean,
for the most part.
Okay, I feel like that tangent went Munch style. We'll just call it Munch style.
So
that was fun.
See,
that last comment, Dream.
Oh
no!
Oh, that's fair.
Just because someone's doing something that's illegal doesn't mean they're doing something that's wrong. So, like, it's not good to just call them criminals because that dehumanizes the person.
Now change that from criminal to cop.
You do understand that there is a difference. Right? Most people don't go, oh, I'm going to be a criminal today, or I'm going to go apply to be a criminal. They just do what they have to do. Cops decide. They go through training, ideally. They go to an academy, ideally. Not everywhere.
I was a trained criminal.
She got put through pro training for crime.
Sure did.
I mean, I did too, but they called it police academy. But if somebody has the label as a felon, you know, I heard this fucking podcast Jim was listening to the other day.
That when I had
and
to turn
this
off
motherfucker, I don't know who the fuck he was, and I hope he hears this someday, but the most stupid shit ever. He won't date felons because he doesn't want to get murdered in his sleep. Now, are all felons murderers?
No.
So it'd be unjust to make that assumption about all felons.
You think Martha Stewart's going to murder you in your sleep?
Yeah, Martha Stewart's a felon.
Martha Stewart might, specifically Martha Stewart.
Don't fight with me. That's like.
No, Martha Stewart is like honestly kind of iconic.
I love her. But to wrap this up into a good statement is there can't be hypocrisy on both sides. You can't. The alt-right shouldn't hate all trans people or all gay people because of one insignificant reason, or even one significant reason, because they're not all that way. Right, we can't hate all conservative Christians for the same fact that not all of them are that way, and they choose to be a Christian.
If they're a conservative Christian, they are that way. I've yet to meet a conservative Christian who wasn't. But like, specifically that last part that Dream said, we'll follow up on off stream.
Yeah, I am down for it. Criminals are people who choose to do things for the wrong purposes. People who are in trouble need to be protected and helped. But, and let me play on Alice's side here, police are not reactive 99.9% of the time. Or they're not proactive, they're reactive. Sorry.
Yeah.
Your house gets broke into, the cops usually don't catch the guy in the process. They come and take a report.
At the risk of oversharing a little bit for this topic, if you get SA'd, the cops show up, might tell you it's your fault, might lose your rape kit, and then might not give a shit when you say, hey, what's going on with the case? And that's personal experience.
It's a massive backlog of
now with a person, now with a police officer like I was that cares, and that's part of my community, and I'm a part of that community. That matters to me to stay on top of that.
But you can't change the system yourself and make every rape kit get processed.
No, but I can make sure that I keep up with the ones that do, that I can. That I can make sure that justice is found as one person. Like I said, it all starts with one person.
Mister's looking for that glimmer.
It all starts with one person. And it's like Dream said, just be a decent fucking person. Are all doctors dickheads?
Not all of them.
Do all lawyers?
Most of them.
But some are.
Some are.
Some are very transphobic.
Some, yeah.
But they choose that. But that doesn't make all doctors bad. There are doctors that are in there trying to do the right thing.
I think we should move past this.
We will bounce to this another time. I enjoyed that. That was fun. I like these kind of conversations. I'm usually on like the side you're taking against somebody else, but you know, it's just more fun that way. I love all this. I really do. I love that all the information tonight was fucking phenomenal. To learn, you know, the discrimination issues that trans individuals deal with all the time. You know, just like we talked last week, you know, that different people face different things, and we have to be able to talk about it. And we have to be able to see each other's side of it. To say, hey, you know, be a compassionate person. I mean, it all comes down to that. Like, this is communications usually our key word this week. This works it's a different C word. It's compassion. Have compassion for your fellow person.
Having compassion does require communication, though.
There you go. See, looped it right back around. Look at there. But it takes a lot to be. It takes a lot to be a shitty person. Like that's the only thing that bothers me is it takes so much for people to. It takes a lot to be a dick. Ask me how I know.
You're a dick.
Right, but I have to put effort into that because when I don't put effort into it, I'm just this wonderful, nice human being that says nothing but positive things.
It takes so much effort to insert yourself into someone else's business. It's like if you're not being a dick, you're just like, oh, you're over here being trans? Okay, cool. You do you.
Exactly. because who a person is should only matter to you if you're interested in being with that person. That's some kind of a relationship, whether it's friendship or companion in a relationship, whatever. That's when those things matter to a person. Still don't be fucking transphobic, but do you get what I'm saying there? Like, that's when the character of a person matters.
There's a difference between being transphobic and just not being interested. Like, if there is a situation where you're not interested in a specific group of people, that can be anything, but that doesn't give you the right to be a dick to that group of people because they're that group of people. You can just say, not for me, and go your own way.
Right. Like the people that think pineapple is gross on pizza. Fuck those guys.
Pineapple is great on pizza with barbecue sauce.
Oh, yes. That's her favorite.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of pizza with pineapple and bacon on a tomato sauce. But it's pretty good with a barbecue sauce too.
You know what I've become a fan of lately? Is I'll take the buffalo. So we got these little bowls at work now. They're crustless pizza. They're fucking keto bowl.
Really good.
And I'll take a buffalo and Alfredo to make the base.
Sauce.
And then add my meats and stuff like that. And then get like some really juicy part of the pineapples. And put that in there in that sweet, savory, spicy mix. Oh my God, it's so good. So good. You good there, Ray?
I'm hungry now, thanks.
So, like, I don't know how much y'all have noticed the sandwich, but, like, I made a sandwich 2 hours ago that's just sitting over here, and this conversation isn't helping.
It's Munch. You're supposed to eat while you're going. I done had, like, a whole thing of cookies.
Mister's killed my upper fudge cookies.
Well, upper magic goes a long way.
I just
kind of like keep turning the sandwich or the camera off so I can take a bite out of the sandwich. The size of my head.
How's the bread?
It's a pretty sandwich.
Just go like this. Just go like this. I ate 3 whole Impossible Whoppers without the bread here.
Unfortunately, I'm on a professional level camera, so like I can go and still be on cam.
Never mind.
Same thing in the other.
Take your camera and do this.
But then I have to get up.
We're trying to help here, okay?
I just turned the camera off. It's fine.
Or just do it Munch style. This is Munch, okay? Every time you look up Monday Munch on YouTube, you either find this shit or you find people making food. So,
or you find this shit with people making food.
Keebler to sponsor us. I think Keebler is a good sponsor for us.
Soup making bread.
Soup making bread. There you go. That just sounds physically impossible.
Well, it's happening.
It is happening. Watching it right now.
All right. So, is there anything else we need to cover tonight? Because I have to pee.
Nope. To recap, this means that's what you were born as. Trans means that you have transferred from one side of the spectrum to the other. Is that a fair generalization?
One part of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, there you go. One part of the spectrum to the other. Gender fluid means that you water, you go back and forth however you feel. Non-binary means that you fall somewhere in the spectrum, but not either side of the spectrum, correct?
Or outside of it. Just anything that's not the extreme ends of the spectrum.
So anything that's not specifically man or woman is non-binary and agender. And agender means you're not on the spectrum.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's an important topic.
Mister, we are on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, we got to go to
song is on YouTube and Facebook.
And he knows he puts that song in my brain every time, and it's stupid.
And if you guys haven't listened to that song,
so I didn't realize there was a song involved here.
Yes.
Please listen to part 1 and 2.
Show me your genitals.
Yes, you have to listen to part 1 and 2, please.
Genitalia.
It's catchy. It'll be in your head. It's absolutely stupid. Stupid, misogynistic, but funny as fuck. Bread bowl soup.
Oh,
So
yeah.
are we going to have a cannibalistic situation where the bread's going to get made and then Soup's going to put soup in the bread and then eat the soup?
Probably not.
No, this is a sweet bread. It's made with condensed milk.
Well, that would be even better. Sweet bread with chili? Oh, gosh.
I started the video and the first thing I heard was women are stupid and I don't respect them, and I am not listening to any more of it.
You have to listen to the rest of it. I promise you, it's comedy. Fucking great.
Honestly, I think that is part of the problem too. Like, is all of the humor that is incredibly
toxic.
Yes.
That's what I love about humor, though.
But if you think about it, though, perpetuating something as funny makes it less severe, makes it less traumatic. It takes away from the actual experiences.
It normalizes
good?
othering the people you're joking about.
So,
yes.
There are many things that my opinion will be swayed on, but everything is funny will never be one of them. I could say, like, I could be swayed on just about anything. But
okay.
Agree to disagree.
Exactly. Yes. That's the best route to take there. We have to agree to disagree on that one. But I love that song. And if you listen to it, you'll sing the chorus. Like, you'll catch yourself singing the chorus. I assure you. You might like the second one better.
I'm all right.
You okay?
Hiccup. Boo. Boo. You gonna make it?
Do the monkey legs.
Spider legs?
Yeah.
That only scares you.
It would probably scare
me.
Normally
I take a big gulp of water, but I just already mentioned I have to pee.
Oh, yeah.
Go pee.
Flush the system. Maybe that's wrong. You're backed up. Your water system's backed up and it's making you hiccups. Doing the reverse. Don't make it laugh too hard. So pee your pants.
Yeah.
All right. So, yep. We've got 4 people watching this. Why? Like, what do we do? Like, who?
Thank you guys for hanging out and watching us. And thank you all for being here and communicating with us and helping us all.
Fucking conversations as always. Very
take a grasp at reality.
Little controversial, unintentionally controversial. Let me add that. That was unintentional this time.
Some of it.
The
pizza part was on purpose.
Yeah, the pizza part's on purpose, but some of it was unintentional. Amira, you're still here.
Good night, Amira.
I love it. So next week, I would like us to discuss relationship spectrum, since we're still in the month of January on spectrums. So from monogamy to non-monogamy, and I guess it would start with what, celibacy. Is there a word for people that don't do relationships at all?
Aromantic.
So would aromantic be, that would be the consideration of not doing relationships?
Not necessarily. Just means that you don't feel romantic attraction.
This is going to be a great topic. I'm excited.
I am too. So now I got to do lots of research to find out what's on the other end of that spectrum. It's not monogamous.
The other end of that spectrum would probably be omniromantic.
Right. Okay, Ray, I'm dropping you down.
Oops, I just sucked my fingers on my face. Wow.
See, now I have to research that because I'm like, oh, the spectrum is monogamous and non-monogamous, but
no.
But that's a different spectrum.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a spectrum within the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
So fuck. I know relationship anarchy is on the end of it.
That's one I could talk about.
See, I think we'll have a good panel next week. Soup, you're welcome to join as well. Always. Okay. If you want to make some more cannibalistic soup bowls.
I don't know. We'll see what I find next week.
And I always appreciate everybody's fucking opinion, even if it's different from mine. It's fun to have those conversations. I have fun with those conversations because it lets me know more about another person. You know, even with my weird ass old roommate that I had, super far right, Christian conservative. Oh, now that's wonderful. Amira says, my niece and nephew sat in with me tonight. They're twins, and it helped a lot, explained a lot. I love it here. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Amira. And you tell them that if they have questions, you can send them to us. Like, if you, I don't know how old they are, but if you want to ask the questions for them on their behalf, we accept that. But yeah, you know, we're here for everybody. And Ray, I think you can hear us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you see that comment? That's why we do this, regardless of our silly controversial moments or crazy shit that I say, or, you know, the difference of opinions we have on some things. That's why we do all this stuff, because somebody out there needs to hear the actual education and information. You know, the rest is just entertainment. It's like WWE. As soon as we get off here, we're all buddies and friends and get along just fine. Yeah.
For the last part.
Like WWE, you know, we do our thing on TV and screen, and then we resolve things in the background. But I love and respect everybody on this panel and my group and y'all's groups and the communities everywhere I go. And it's nothing but love, respect, and compassion.
Ray, you want to come back up to see us away? No? Okay. We'll see you in the back.
I love that backstage part. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Amira,
have a happy week, everybody.
Hopefully I'll get this out next week to have like a poster and like get that out tomorrow and an outline and all that stuff. I got a little slack this week. But yeah, the relationship spectrum is what I'd like to talk about next week. So we all have a little research to do, I suppose. All right. Good night, Facebook and YouTubes and everybody else. Bye-bye.